Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in and clicking on this video. So as you guys can obviously see from the title, I'm going to be talking about Miss RFabulous life update video that she released. And yeah, it was very interesting. I'm gonna obviously give you guys my 2 pence as per usual. Let me know yours. If you are new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. It's all good vibes. Also, if you ever wanted to support my channel, in the description is my PayPal and my Cash.app. So I'm just gonna basically talk from the top of my head. I watched the video from beginning to end. It's great that she's come back on YouTube. It's great that she's out of the hospital. I did a video on that. You guys could go ahead and watch that video. Now, I found the video to be very weird. I don't know if it was just me, but if you guys have been following the videos that I've done on Renee, I think it's fair to say that I've not leaned on one side. I've kind of just spoken from what I have felt from that particular event rather than her as a whole person, because I don't know her personally. So, and I'm the kind of person that I like to speak on specific events rather than on the person, because if you do that, then what tends to happen is that your opinion can be either biased or very judgmental. And I try to be critical, like I try to just speak on that particular situation. And I'm going to do the same with this specific video. I do want to say before I dive into the video that what I'm about to say is not personal. It's just me critically analysing the video itself. For those who may wonder why my tone might be different, it's because that's the vibe that I got off from that particular video. I felt very disconnected from that video, and also I found it to be a little bit pointless. I feel like she didn't need to do it. She didn't need to address a lot of the things that she's addressed. She spoke about the apology that she made to Lani, Yasmin, Jade, and there's a lot of things, there's a few things that she said that really had me raise my brow. For example, she was saying that she made a comment which I don't know why, but if I was people watching it, I would feel a little bit like, what are you talking about? She made a comment and she said
okay, I've never really had that person to actually sit me down and say, you know what, this is what you're doing wrong. Don't you see that you do this and you do that? I've never really had that person to actually say, stop doing that. That's wrong. Stop feeding into that attention. That's wrong. Social media ain't your life. Social media don't need to see that. Social media don't need to know that. Like, I didn't really have that person in my life. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I feel like many friends that I've had in my friendship group, or I had in my friendship group, I would do bad things and I would do things I think it's okay to do them, and they will never actually G-check me. They will never actually say, okay, don't do that because it's wrong. I realized that the company that I had around me, when I used to go off on social media, they used to love that. They used to feed off of that, because that again obviously brings clout. That again obviously draws attention to their page. That gives them followers. So I feel like I never really had that friend who was to say, don't do that, don't post that, don't act that way, don't do this.
Now, when she made that comment didn't seem genuine to me. And the reason it didn't seem genuine to me is because I've heard her say this before, and I've heard her mum say this before. She said that she's always been the kind of person that don't listen. She would do what Ren wants to do. Ren would do what Ren wants to do. And I've heard her say these words.
Do you know, everything he said, I've heard it all before. And I feel like, yeah, the last few months, I've had somebody that tells me this all the time, that drums it in my head. But obviously with Ren, I've always had a problem with listening since I was a kid. My mum would tell me to not do something and I'll still do it.
To me, it's like you coming on and saying that you've never really had somebody to basically tell you what you're doing is wrong. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're contradicting yourself. Like, I don't know, when she said that, I was just like, okay, no, that's off, that's not true. You've had people tell you that what you're doing is wrong, or you don't need to react to people, or you've had people tell you about friends and all of that stuff. Like, you've had that. Like, I cannot believe that in your whole entire life, with the people that you've had around you, for the most part have been people who have benefited of you going off on social media. And another thing that she was saying, that when she was saying how the friend circle, the friends that she used to have were her friend circle before enjoyed her popping off on social media because it will give them clout. It's like, how would it give them clout if it's you popping off? Like, that didn't make sense to me. Like, that was just like off-putting. And also when she said about her apology, I noticed that she was like, you know, I did my apology. And you know, one thing that I realized is that when people genuinely say sorry, they genuinely say, I am sorry. Then there's people that want to portray an apology who never say these words, I am sorry, but they will say apologies if da 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 da. There's a difference between saying these 3-letter words, I am sorry, and there's a difference in saying I've sent my apology or apologies to this person. It's like disingenuous. That apology is not genuine. And also she must have said something about I didn't need to apologize to Yasmin because she came for me first. And then she was like, I've apologized to all the people that I know, but I swear you knew Vanessa. I swear you guys even had a friendship. You guys even was in a video together. I swear you know Gade. Like, there's so many more people that you actually know. Like, you can't be telling me that Lani, Yasmin and Jade, you genuinely personally knew. That's why you sent your apology to them. So to me, that was fake. Listen, the whole video to me came across fake to me. I've heard her talk about her not having friends and how she doesn't need friends, and that whole narrative. That narrative does have some truth to it, but I feel like we have to be careful with that type of narrative, because sometimes people that have that mindset, like, I don't need nobody, we are not a one-man island. Like, we actually need people. God did not create us to do things alone. That narrative, sometimes I have to be like careful with that every time. Even for me personally, if I ever get into a mindset where I'm just like, oh, I don't need people, it's only me, myself and I, that's a very dangerous place to be. Sometimes the enemy will push us in that position and take us into a place of isolation, and we don't even know that it's the enemy doing it. The problem is that sometimes we don't define our friendships, and so when our friendships are not defined, you can end up in a lot of mix up, like going to Dubai with people that you genuinely aren't really friends with, and then you get into a situation and then you come out and you're like, oh, I don't need friends are bad mind. But then whenever you're friends in the first place, you didn't define the friendship. So if you don't define the friendship, then you can't put a boundary. If there's no boundary and that person crosses the boundary, then you can't then speak a fake message. Do you get what I mean? So I feel like we need to be wise in the people that we have around. And of course, not every person that claims to be your friend is an actual friend, but let's define our friendships and let's create boundaries. Don't go to Dubai with people who you don't know, and then when you end up in a fight, you want to start making claims that people are after you and you can't have friends and all of this fake narrative. Like, no, I don't buy into that. The reason why I felt like this whole video was fake is because there was no real accountability. Like, I've obviously watched Renee, I've listened to her videos just as a spectator, just as an outsider. One thing that I've noticed, like especially in this video, I heard a lot of people, it's them. Like,
I felt like she was doing a lot of deflecting. There was very little answerability.
even though she recognizes that she's been in a lot of mix-up, but people really want to use her for clout, like, and people really want to be after her. But it's just kind of like, if you was gonna come out with this video, especially after being in hospital, especially after everything that you're going through, if you was gonna do this video, I wouldn't have done this type of video. Like, this video really felt like everybody was the problem but her. And also, I just want to mention that when she was saying about you know, she never really had somebody to tell her, it was almost like everybody was trying to expose her, use her and gain clout of her. I actually do believe that Maggie was a genuine friend of hers, like, and I do feel like Maggie was kind of challenging a lot of her ways. And I don't know, this is just speculational, okay? I do feel like the reason why their relationship deteriorated was because of that, because Maggie was challenging a lot of her ways and she pushed her away because of that. Because you can even, when I used to watch when she used to do vlogs and Maggie was in it, like the way that she would talk to her, sometimes dynamics of their relationship was quite a bit imbalanced. Personality wise, you would say that Renee was more of a stronger personality, but Maggie carried a stronger presence because the God in her. And so whenever you're challenged by God's presence, then you would tend to push that away, and I feel like that's what kind of happened. So no, I didn't buy this whole she didn't have anybody. That really offended me. that that proper offended me, because I was just like, are you alright? Like, are you actually gonna sit there and say that? And I can imagine, like, if I felt like that, I can imagine her former friends actually feeling like that. And obviously when she was talking about how she would sit there and sip her wine when she would watch people do interviews, well, I presume she was talking about the interviews that Gade has been doing, and it was just I'm gonna be honest, yeah, I felt like she was contradicting herself quite a lot, and the video just kind of seemed vindictive. It kind of felt like, Lord have mercy, take the wheel, Jesus, take the wheel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will speak to you guys in my next video, and hit your notification bell.